morning, everybody. Top of the morning to you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the Super Bowl yesterday. I know I did because I won most of my boxes. So for the first time in my life, I actually had good numbers. I'm pretty excited about it. We're going to talk about the Super Bowl and whatever the hell it was Rihanna did at halftime because it certainly wasn't a performance, I'll tell you that. My fifth grade talent show was a little bit better. Also, how many balloons are we up to now? 5? 6? I don't really know. We're losing count. We're going to talk about that. Also, I want to talk about this train derailment in Ohio that nobody seems to really care about. Nobody seems to be talking about this whatsoever. But it's not good. It's not good at all. But before we get started, guys, make sure you guys smash that like button. If you're on Facebook, share this video into all of your groups. Make sure you guys hit that share button to help grow the channel, help grow the page. If you're on Rumble, smash that Rumble button, share the video link, all over the place. Also, guys, head on over to loudmajorityus.com. Sign up for the newsletter. Check out our shop. Use promo code LFA at checkout for 20% off everything on the website. That's promo code LFA for 20% off on the website. Yeah. So let's talk about the Super Bowl. Let's talk about the Super Bowl because, first off, I want to congratulate all the Philadelphia fans for proving everyone right about your illustrious city and the people who live there. Turns out you guys didn't like a call, so you stomped your feet, and now you're burning down the city. Climbing up lamp poles, punching police horses, whatever it is you guys do down there. So to all the Philly fans, I want to thank you all so much for proving us all right about how elegant you all are, how well you guys handle things. There's a reason why you guys are the laughingstock of the country. So there's a reason why I make jokes about Philadelphia. And, not only did you elect John Fetterman, but apparently you don't know how to cover in cover 2. So you lost the Super Bowl. Get over it. You don't need to stomp your feet and jump off buildings and shimmy up street poles to get your point across. Sometimes bad calls happen. Get over it. Classic Philly. Yeah. All right, Janet, we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about whatever the hell that was at halftime. Whatever that was at halftime. Look, and people are going to be upset. They're going to say, she shouldn't have done this. She grabbed the crotch, shaking her ass, whatever. No, I'm not going to talk about any of that. It was just bad. It just wasn't good. It was like when I watched it, I wasn't entertained. At least a couple of years ago, when they had they was J-Lo and Shakira, people got very on them because it was very sexually explicit. At least that was entertaining to watch. There were dance numbers involved. There was the only thing that was pretty cool was when the camera flipped over. So I don't really understand what went on with that whole kerfuffle, with that whole thing. I don't really see how anyone could pretend like that was a quality musical performance. I don't really grasp it. Like, it just wasn't entertaining. Yes, Dale, Metallica next year. You would think that one day they would just pick like a musical act that'll come out there. You guys remember when Prince went up there? This is like 15 years ago. That was amazing. It was raining out. He was doing his thing. That was fantastic. Rihanna just sucked. Like I said, I'm not going to get on her because she's pregnant. Congratulations. That's not really all that impressive. People get pregnant all the time, most of the time by accident. So I'm not really impressed by that whatsoever. So people are like, oh, you gotta give her a break. She was pregnant. All right. So why the hell did you do it then? You were hired to do a job. You didn't do it. I don't seem to really grasp what the hell she was doing. I don't know. And look, I'm going to be honest with you. I like Rihanna's music. I do. It's a guilty pleasure of mine. I shouldn't, but, it's entertaining music. But I just don't understand what was with, like, the Oompa Loompas and, like, the half-shirtless men in the fishnets. They kind of all looked like marshmallows. It looked like a scene at a Super Smash Brothers with those things flying up in the air. It was very odd. It was very odd, and we need country singers who would love Billy Joel or Elton John. That would be good. That would be good. It was just odd. What did you want her to do? Well, considering she's a pop artist, I figured she'd dance instead of just moving her knees back and forth. It was really not good. It was really not good at all. And look, I'm not calling it I'm looking at the chat. Guys, it wasn't a satanic outfit. It was just pink. All right? Let's stop looking for things. It just wasn't entertaining. So odd that it wasn't even. I like that. That's pretty funny. Yeah, it was boring. But the game was great. The game was fantastic. Big congrats to all the Kansas City Chiefs fans out there who and Chris Stapleton killed it at the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm sorry, the Star Spangled Banner. He was awesome. It was just bad. The most entertaining thing about that halftime show was everyone I was sitting with making fun of it. So I do want to thank her for that because now, we had a good 20 minutes worth of endless banter. I'm able to just make fun of her. Like I said, I don't really care that she's pregnant. Good for her. That doesn't mean that the performance was any less or any more talented. It wasn't. It was boring. It was just goofy. But like I said, I like Rihanna's music, so I'm not even gonna. It also was the hype around it. They had this big thing planned. I don't really know what they did other than put her really high. I tell you what, though, you wouldn't get me on that damn platform all the way up that high. Not a chance. Not a chance in hell would you get me on that thing. I don't do heights. It's very odd. It's very, very odd. Let's focus on Hochul eliminating new zoning laws. All right, Ed, I'll check in. I will look into that. Does that have to do with the multifamily units? We've been talking about that for a while. So, all righty. But before we dive into what's going on with this balloon, I just have to say one more time, it was a good game, and go Chiefs, go Chiefs. So that was fantastic. So we were talking about it last night. I was out with the guys from the New York City Young Republicans watching the game, and we couldn't help but think about what number balloon are we? I think we're up to 4 balloons now, which makes you wonder, real quick, how many balloons were there that nobody knew about? How often are these balloons happening? Is this like a new occurrence? Are the Chinese just sending the balloons now, or have we just not noticed them? Also, it's incredibly nice to know that our Air Force, finally has something to shoot at after, 20 years of not really shooting at anything. At least they're being able to take these things down. This from the New York Post: an unidentified object shot down over Lake Huron. Third in as many days. How many more of these things are coming? How many more of these things are coming before someone's going to do something about it? I mean, how about like a public statement saying stop? I'm not asking for something dramatic. I'm not asking for us to invade China because of these balloons. I'm not saying we bombed China because of these balloons. I would just like the President of the United States to come out and say, hey, guys, cut the shit out. How hard would that be? How hard would that be? But he won't. He won't, just to continue to push America's weakness on the global stage. And I'm not somebody that thinks that there's some sort of nefarious thing behind this, some sort of we'll call it conspiracy for lack of a better term. I think this is just Xi Jinping in China proving to the hardliners in his party that he can do whatever he wants to America, and there's nothing we're going to do about it. Because these balloons don't seem to have a purpose. I know some people talk about EMP blasts. You're not going to get that from me, okay? If they wanted to do that, they would just do it in a suitcase right next to the electrical grid, and the game would be over. It seems to me that they are pushing these balloons into the atmosphere, into the American airspace, simply to prove that there is nothing we're going to do about it. And it seems as though they may have that right. U.S. jets shot down an unidentified object over Lake Huron on Sunday, marking the third time such action had been taken in as many days, and coming on the heels of last week's Chinese spy balloon. So now the New York Post isn't even saying this is a Chinese balloon. It just happens to be an unidentified object, which is just as terrifying. See, that's what's phenomenal about that whole UFO scandal that went on at the Pentagon and all these different places, is that for so long, people were sitting there, and there were just things they didn't know about in the air, and no one had the stones to go, yeah, we have no idea what this is. Make something up, please. Okay? Make something up. That would make me feel a little bit better than you saying we have no idea what it is. Also, did we just shoot down an alien craft? Does anyone even know anymore? All I know is that things seem to be floating around all through this atmosphere, and no one is at the wheel. No one's at the wheel. Yes, Independence Day. That's what this feels like. We need Bill Pullman to get up there in a jet Have Randy Quaid run into the damn thing. Except we can't lose Randy Quaid. Sunday's takedown is believed to be involved with an octagonal object that was tracked by radar over Montana on Saturday when it flew in proximity to sensitive State Department sites, the Pentagon spokesperson Brigadier General Pat Ryder said in a statement. The North Atlantic Aerospace Defense Command located the object Sunday morning and tracked it visually with radar until an F-16 fighter with AIM-9X missiles blew it out of the sky at about 20,000 feet over the lake at 2:42 p.m. All right, so I've got some more questions here. I've got some huge questions. So it was tracked on Sunday morning, and it took you till almost 3 o'clock in the afternoon to shoot this thing down? Do these guys not understand that, like, it's possible that these could be, like, actual attacks and that maybe we should, like, I don't know, scramble some jets a little bit faster to take these things out? We did not assess it to be a kinetic military threat to anything on the ground, but assess it was safety. It was a safety flight hazard due to its potential surveillance capabilities. Ryder said it was shot down over the water to avoid impact to people on the ground while improving chances for debris discovery. So let me get this straight once again. You spotted it over Montana and you let it get all the way to the Great Lakes to avoid people. Guys, there's nothing in Montana. Have you watched Yellowstone? That's like the whole point of the show. The fact that there's nobody there. That's why there's majestic beauty in nature, because people aren't there. We're just going to let this thing keep flying. We're going to let it keep flying. Ryder said it was shot down over water to avoid the... read that already. There is no indication of any civilians hurt or otherwise affected, a rep said. The original object, octagonal in shape, had strings hanging off of it but carried no payload, an anonymous U.S. source told Reuters. The Air Force officials said the latest 3 objects in U.S. airspace are different from the now infamous Chinese spy balloon. That's good. That's phenomenal. We're calling them objects, not balloons, for a reason, Air Force General told reporters on Sunday. He said the most recent objects were very, very small and moved at low speed. Who cares if they're small? And moved at low speed. You guys got, look, not for nothing, guys. We're not in a war right now, okay? So I don't know what these generals are actually doing. I don't know what they're actually doing, except sitting around all day waiting for, like, the military sits and waits for things like this to happen. And nobody seems to have any idea what's going on. They don't know what these are. They weren't able to get all the debris. They're not calling them balloons. They're just calling them objects. They're calling them octagonal in shape. I mean, this is not what I thought it would be when aliens came down. I thought it would be a hell of a lot cooler than that. The military believes the object likely fell in Canadian waters and will attempt to retrieve it and learn more about what exactly it is, the Air Force General said, who is the head of the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, and Northern Command. So, U.S. and Canadian authorities restricted airspace over the lake earlier in the day as military jets scrambled to intercept the object, the Associated Press cited U.S. officials who spoke on the condition of anonymity. So, we can't fly. Our airlines can't get things right, but things seem to be floating over America pretty damn easily. It's staggering. It's absolutely staggering that we allow these sorts of things to happen. And no one does anything about it. As I said, you know what? I think that the simplest, in most cases, I think the simplest answer is usually the correct answer. And it seems as though this is just some government thumbing their nose at us, saying that we're going to do what we want, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. Are they wrong? Look, do I think these were aliens? Probably not. Because not for nothing, if aliens saw that halftime show, they'd probably skip over this planet. U.S. Rep. Jack Bergman, Republican of Michigan, a former Marine Lieutenant General, tweeted earlier that he'd been in contact with the Defense Department regarding the operations over the Great Lakes region. The U.S. military has decommissioned another object over Lake Huron. Really? Decommissioned another object? What a ridiculous bit of language. I appreciate the action by our fighter pilots, he said. The American people deserve more answers than we have. Yeah, you got that right. Rep. Alicia Slotnick, Democrat of Michigan, a former CIA analyst and Pentagon official, also tweeted that the object had been downed by pilots by the U.S. Air Force and the National Guard. We're really interested in exactly what the object was and its purpose, she said. Yeah, of course we're interested, but we're not going to get anything from your party. We're not going to get anything coming out of the State Department because John Kirby's an idiot. John Kirby's a coward. So is Anthony Blinken. You know, this wouldn't be so bad if we had competent people at the wheel that we actually believed in could handle this situation. If we actually had people at the top of at the wheel who could communicate effectively and let us all know what's going on. Someone we knew that would fight back, but we don't have that. We've got John Fetterman. The incident followed the U.S. takedowns of two other unidentified objects over Alaska and Canada Friday and Saturday, respectively. Those incidents came after an alleged maneuverable Chinese spy plane floated across the U.S. before being blown out of the sky off the coast of South Carolina. So let me get this straight. So we're up to 4 now. We've now shot 4 things out of the sky, and no one seems to know what these things are. How is that possible? We've spent trillions and trillions of dollars on defense, even more in research and development to figure out these sorts of things, even more in spying at the CIA and NSA, and we still can't figure out what this thing is. See, guys, this is why people don't trust the government. This is why conspiracy theories are afoot, and why people think that, you know, the Illuminati is out there controlling everything. I had one idiot say that Rihanna was it was part of an experiment with MK Ultra. There's a reason why these things happen. They happen because you guys aren't honest with us. If you guys just came out and were like, look, we don't have any idea what this thing is, but give us a couple days and we'll figure it out, I think most Americans would sit back and go, oh, yeah, I'll give you a couple days. I'll give you a couple days to figure it out. But instead, everything gets slogged down in bureaucracy, and every spokesperson's got to have their say, and every person comes out and gives another BS answer. Like this brigadier general who's not telling us anything, or John Kirby who has to spend all this time filling in for Karine Jean-Pierre because she's useless. This is why people don't trust the government, because you don't give us a reason to. NORAD enhanced its radar detection efforts over the initial Chinese spy balloon, resulting in a recent increase in object detection. Secretary of Defense for Homeland Security and Atmospheric Affairs Lisa Dalton told reporters. So let me get this straight. So we could have upped our radar technology this entire time, but we waited until the Chinese spy balloon came over, and then we decided to up the... That's like getting a security system in your house after the burglar's already inside. That's like getting the carbon monoxide detector in your house after you've already passed out. And first off, what a title from this woman, Melissa Dalton, the Secretary of Defense for Homeland Defense and Atmospheric Affairs. 9 words. Really? Do we need you? Cut this woman's job from government, because obviously she's not doing it properly. Earlier Sunday, the North American Aerospace Defense Command said that it had separately implemented a temporary flight restriction over Lake Michigan around noon Eastern time. The move, quote, made with the cooperation of Federal Aviation Administration, was intended to ensure the safety of air traffic in the area around NORAD operations, the Joint U.S.-Canadian Defense Organization said. Now, you know, you guys, I can't tell you how relieved I am to know that America cannot handle this problem on its own. We need the help of the Canadians, the Canadian Air Force, the Mounties that still go to war on horseback, led by an even less competent buffoon in Justin Trudeau. I can't tell you how satisfying that is, how good that makes me feel, to know that we can't handle this on our own. We need the help of the Canadians. NORAD didn't elaborate at the time, but Saturday it blamed a radar anomaly for reports that an object had been spotted in the Montana airspace. Oh, really? A radar anomaly. Military fighters that investigate did not identify an object to correlate this radar hit, NORAD said. So that's good. So now we've upped our radar technology, and it doesn't even work. We've upped our radar technology, and the damn thing don't even work. We are living in a simulation, people. There is no way you're going to tell me that any of the people doing this are remotely competent at their job, remotely competent in their job. They've shot down 3 UFOs, and we were all sitting there watching a ridiculous football game. I mean, I don't know. Is it a distraction? Maybe. I don't know. I do not know. What I do know for a fact is that... There we go. Pull this up here quick. What I do know is that some people need to start giving some answers really, really quickly and really efficiently. Because at the moment, not knowing is worse than what the truth would actually be. And... Sorry. Turn off this ad because you can't open an article anywhere on the internet without getting an ad for some, I don't know what the hell is this, Red Barn dog food. Unbelievable. But one more story I do want to talk about, which is getting pretty exciting. This is from Steve Janisky over at the New York Post. Apparently the Guardian Angels are back. The Guardian Angels are back patrolling the streets outside of a candy store after decades. I'm sorry. Guardian Angels patrol outside of Ray's candy store decades after the shopkeeper saved founder Curtis Lewa. So the Guardian Angels are back out there. So not only on Fordham Road are we starting to get paid security guards because of all the shoplifting, now we've got to, I don't know, import a bunch of 80-year-olds to patrol the streets. That's exciting. We're living in a fantasy. We're living in a fantasy land, a simulation where nothing is real. The owner of Ray's candy store saved Guardian Angels founder Curtis Lewa when he was attacked on the Manhattan Street in 1992. The Red Beret Crusader says it's his turn now. Lewa told the New York Post on Sunday, the day before the Guardian Angels' 44th anniversary, that his crime-fighting crew will routinely patrol the neighborhood where the now 90-year-old Alvarez was recently pummeled to ensure he's never hurt again. It's unbelievable. Beating up candy store owners now. We're going to make sure everybody knows that Ray is untouchable, Sleewa said. You just don't touch Ray. So it's good to know this candy store owner is well protected, but everybody else in the city has to live in squalor. I've been in the city the last 2 days. It is so disgusting. I got to go back there tonight. It's disgusting. The entire city smells like weed. The whole city. No matter where you go. Doesn't matter if you're uptown, you're downtown, at Penn Station, down on Wall Street. The whole thing smells like weed. People strewn out on the street. I saw it in front of, I don't know why particularly, but it was in front of the Polish embassy. There was like 15 people laying on the steps. Like, I don't know why that one particular area seemed to, like, I don't know, I guess it was a good spot. I don't know, maybe the heat was coming out of the door or something. It was very odd, but going to New York City right now, you put your life in your own hands. It's terrifying. Alvarez was already a neighborhood fixture and about 60 years old when he yelled at 3 men beating Sleewa outside the Angels leader's apartment 30 years ago, distracting them long enough for the wounded crime fighter to get up and scramble to safety in Tompkins Square Park. I have Ray to thank, Sleewa said on Sunday. If he hadn't come out of his store and then stopped talking, apparently, most everybody would have hid, Sleewa said. This wouldn't have come... they wouldn't have come out and confronted the guy. I think most people would have. But Sleewa recently honored Alvarez, who was brutally beaten by a stranger outside of his famed East Village store last month, with Guardian Angels Friendship Award while sending his Red Beret colleagues to patrol Ray's neighborhood after the attack. Sleewa, who lived on the Lower East Side from 1983 to 1993, and said that he started the routine Lower East Side patrol shortly after Alvarez's beating. because there just aren't enough police in the area. Of course there aren't. Of course there aren't. I see how it's slipping, Sliwa said, of the old neighborhood. There just aren't enough cops there. Police have charged Louis Peroza, 39, and Gerald Barth, 55, with allegedly beating Alvarez so bad that he now eats through a straw. Real good. So you work your entire life in New York City. Oh, I mean, the guy still owns a candy store that apparently is profitable enough to stay open on the Lower East Side. A candy store. Where the hell is there a candy store anymore? This guy's been doing it for 40, 50 years. And gets beaten by two vagrants so bad he's got to eat through a straw now, because that's what that guy thought he was going to be doing at 90, eating through a straw. Alvarez was attacked at 3 a.m. on January 31st by a man who asked him if he wanted to buy a package that the stranger was carrying, cops said. When Alvarez asked what's inside the box, the suspect handed it off to the other man and threatened to kill the elderly store owner. They had soda. They wanted to sell it to me, Alvarez recalled. I said no. One punched me in the head. One punched me in the chest. One handed the soda to the other guy. Hold this. I'm going to kill this guy. I couldn't believe it. So these guys are out there selling sodas on the street, and if you don't buy them, you get beaten. This is like the violent escalation of squeegee men. You guys remember squeegee men? People that would wash the windshield of your car with disgusting water, and then if you didn't pay them, they threw the nasty water all over your car. Peroza, who hit Alvarez, is being held on $200,000 bail for assault, robbery, and attempted robbery charges. Barth has also been charged with assault and robbery and attempted robbery, according to the complaint against him. Wow. So someone's actually in jail on bail in New York City? Really? Alvin Bragg, are you sure that, that's not racism? Are you sure that it wasn't the system that forced him to beat up this old man? The pair has also allegedly attacked another man on Avenue C, pummeling him after demanding money. That is what drives me nuts about these homeless people now. They're getting really aggressive. Like you owe them something. They ask you for money, you don't give it to them, they get mad. Like you are somehow withholding something from them. Something that's rightfully theirs. But that's what happens in the city. That's what happens in the city. Oh, look at that. We got MD Norton in the chat. We got a big Eagles fan in the chat right now. If you're on Rumble, everyone, say hello to MD Norton. Dr. Norton, our resident Philly fan. Oh, my God, yes. Unbreakable. Who was that? Who was that couldn't pronounce Canada correctly? Oh, wait, I got to find that video. That was hilarious. I don't know what's it called. Did you guys happen to see that? They were talking about Canada yesterday, and I think she said Canada. Like a mix between Canadian and Canada. I got to figure out who said that. That was absolutely hilarious. I want to finish up this story real quick. Despite being attacked, Alvarez was behind the counter of his 24-hour candy store a day later. See, that's just a different kind of work ethic that we just don't have now anymore. This guy got the shit beat out of him on the street. And he was back to work the next day. Back to work the next day. Oh, it was the press secretary. Yeah, it was Karine Jean-Pierre that said it. Yes, Giuliani did get rid of the squeegee men, but now they are back. Now they are back. The squeegee men have returned. Rudy Giuliani helped get rid of all those people, but now they are back. I saw one in Williamsburg the other day, right off, I think it's, what is that, exit 16 on the LIE? The last exit before the tunnel, maybe exit 13. I always forget which one. Sitting there right at the red light on the exit ramp. Karine Jean-Pierre. Canada. You have a press secretary that can't deliver words to the press. We're living in a fantasy. We're living in a simulation. Sliwa said he and his elderly friend both believe that the people should work to improve New York City, not move away from it. As I've said it numerous times, I couldn't agree with Curtis more. And they've proven their dedication, the hard work, he said. We both had our blood on the sidewalk and the streets of the Lower East Side, right outside of his candy store. So I'm happy. I'm happy this guy is able to return to work right after this sort of beating. I'm very happy he was able to do that. And Curtis is right. We shouldn't leave. We should fix it. I'm a big advocate for that. I'm not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. It's time for each and every one of us to do our part to try to fix our own city. It's the greatest city in the world. I said it. I met somebody from Missouri the other night, and she asked me, why don't I leave New York like everyone else? And I told her, I was like, because this is the capital of the world. It is the Empire State. It's the greatest city in the world. Why would I leave? It's up to us to fix it. We allowed this to happen through sitting back and being stagnant, not being active enough over the course of the last 30 years, took things for granted, and got idiots like Bill de Blasio. And now I wouldn't say idiots. I would say ineffective leaders like Eric Adams. It's up to us to try to fix it. So now we've got the Guardian Angels out there patrolling the streets of the Lower East Side again because the police aren't allowed to do their job. I'm not sure what the difference is, what they're going to be able to do as opposed to what the police would be able to do, but that's an entirely another story. At least there's somebody out there taking some action. At least somebody out there has got the stones to do what people aren't allowed to do. I just hope that they don't find themselves in a pickle, in some kind of a predicament where they're faced with a situation that's going to put them in front of Alvin Bragg. Because if you don't think Alvin Bragg can make an example out of Curtis Lewa and the rest of the Guardian Angels just to prove a point that safety and policing is not his top concern, then you got another thing coming. You got another thing coming. Guys, I'm wrapping up a little bit early today. I have to run to a meeting, but I do want to thank everybody for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit that like button, smash that thumbs up button on Rumble, share the video out across all your social media platforms. Also, guys, 7 o'clock tonight, stay tuned for the first episode of the Rhino Show here on the Loud Majority Network. I'm so excited to introduce you guys to these kids. They're awesome. They're absolutely fantastic. You guys are going to love the show, so stay tuned for the updates at 7 o'clock tonight. Guys, make sure you head on over to loudmajorityus.com, sign up for the newsletter, check out the shop, use promo code LFA at checkout. That's promo code LFA at checkout for 20% off the entire website. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. I'll see you guys back at 1 p.m. on LFA TV. Until then, Jeremy Harrell will be up at 9 o'clock on Rise Up. You guys are going to want to start your day off with this show because starting your day off with a little spirituality is always good. Once again, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys back here on Wednesday. Until then, guys, stay loud.